Hi, grade 5 students. I hope you guys are all doing well and in good health. In today's video, we're going to talk about two of the six kingdoms. We're going to talk about the plant and the animal kingdom. So, there's about 320,000 different types of plants. Of course, there's more types of animals than plants. We talked about that in the previous video. Now, there's two very important things you have to know about plants. First of all, they're multi-celled. That means they're made up of more than one cell, so most of them are not microscopic. And of course, they are producers. Producers, it means that they make their own food by a process called photosynthesis. You guys should know this very well. Photosynthesis takes place in the leaves of plants with the help of the chlorophyll, the green material that traps sunlight, and of course it needs carbon dioxide and water and sunlight energy, and it produces sugar for itself. That's the food it makes, and oxygen is the waste. That's why it's very important for us, because it produces oxygen for all living organisms. Plants come in many different sizes. They can be tiny, like the moss, or they can be huge, like these sequoia trees that you see here. But no matter what the size of a plant is, it's multi-celled, and all plants are producers, no matter what their size is. Now, scientists group plants by two different ways. Now, the first way to group plants is vascular and non-vascular. That's one way to group plants. As you know, we studied this in grade 4. Vascular plants are plants that have tubes, also known as vascular tissue. They are the two tubes inside of plants that move water and sugar up and down the plant. So vascular plants have this, and all seed plants are vascular plants, and the fern. Okay, the fern is the only plant that's vascular but seedless. It doesn't make seeds. Okay, so all seed plant, any plant that makes seeds, and the fern is a vascular plant. Non-vascular plants, however, they don't have vascular tissue. They don't have these tubes inside of them. For example, the moss and the liverworts. We're going to see also the hornworts, okay? So now we're going to take a look at some more examples of vascular and non-vascular. So as I just said, this is one way to group plants, whether they are vascular, do they have vascular tissue inside of them, meaning tubes, or not. The vascular plants are all seed plants, all plants that make seeds. You can see here in the chart, seed plants are flowering plants and conifers. So plants can make seeds inside of flowers that become fruits or inside of cones. Also, the only non-seed plant or seedless plant that's vascular is the fern. Now, the other group is non-vascular. Non-vascular plants, for example, mosses, liverworts, and hornworts. So we're going to take a look at some more information about vascular and non-vascular. So as we said, all seed plants are vascular. Seed plants can be flowering plants, plants that make flowers which become fruits. For example, we have here the lily pads, because you see flowers, and of course we have this beautiful tree. It's a flowering plant, and the cacti plants are also flowering plants. So any plant that makes flowers and fruits is a seed plant, and of course it's vascular as well, because all seed plants are vascular. Now, the other type of seed plants are the conifers, plants that make cones, like the pine and the cedar and the cypress. Okay, these are also vascular plants. Remember, vascular plants can grow tall, okay, because they have tubes to carry water all the way up to the leaves on top of the plant, okay? So they're able to grow tall. However, non-vascular plants cannot do that. So in this picture here, you can see in blue, it's one tube. Well, in science, this tube is called the xylem. You don't really have to know it. It's just extra information. The xylem is the name of the tubes that carry water up from the roots to the stem towards the leaf, because water has to reach the leaves so it can be used for photosynthesis. You can see it here in blue. Another set of vascular tissue or tubes is the phloem, and it's shown here in pink. Okay, it carries sugar from the leaves to the other parts of the plant, like the stem and the roots. So we have the vascular tissue here in blue and going upwards, and in pink going downwards, mainly going downwards. So, vascular plants, all seed plants like the flowering plants and the conifers are vascular, plus the fern is vascular, but it's seedless. Now, non-vascular plants, here, these are the most popular non-vascular plants, the moss, the liverworts, and the hornworts. Okay, you're not very familiar with them. We don't see them often, because most of the plants in the world are vascular, and most of the plants around us are vascular. But non-vascular plants still do exist. They don't have vascular tissue, so they can't grow tall. They have to stay low to the ground because it's very hard to carry water upwards because there's no tubes. So, and they also live in damp places. They have to live in wet places because they don't have real roots or stems or leaves to soak up water like vascular plants do. So this is very important to know, that they can't grow tall and they live in damp or wet places. Okay, again, the most three examples you have to know are the moss, the liverworts, and the hornworts for the non-vascular plants. Okay, so we finished talking about vascular and non-vascular plants. Now, another way to group plants, because we can group things in different ways. For example, we can group, things according to their color or to their size. Okay, but plants are grouped according to whether they have tubes or not. Another way to group plants, a different way scientists chose, is whether they are seed or seedless. Okay, that's a different way to group plants. So now they are being grouped according to how they reproduce. Okay, seed plants reproduce by making seeds, like the conifers and the flowering plants. They're seed plants. Seedless plants, they don't make seeds, they reproduce by making spores. Okay, and the examples you have to know for seedless plants are the fern, okay, the moss, the liverworts, and the hornworts. So here we add the fern, okay. In the previous grouping, the moss and the fern were in separate groups. One was vascular and one was non-vascular. But here we add the fern with the moss because it's seedless. It makes spores, okay. Even though it has tubes, it has vascular tissue, but it doesn't make seeds. It reproduces just like the moss by making spores. Okay, so flowering plants are one kind of seed plants. Here you can see different types of seed plants, and they make flowers that change into fruits. For example, the strawberry fruit was once a flower, and the apple was once a flower. Here you can also see the dandelion. These are seeds that fly around. We see them a lot now in the spring, okay, flying, because that's how the dandelion seeds spread. And also in the first picture you can see this is a flowering plant. This is a fruit and it has seeds in it. Remember, not all fruits are eaten, are edible, okay? A fruit in science is not something sweet or juicy to eat. It's just a part that has seeds in it, okay? So these are flowering plants. Flowering plants make flowers, and flowers change into fruits, and they have seeds inside of them. Now, conifers are also seed plants, but they don't make seeds in flowers or fruits. They make seeds in cones. Okay, so this is the second type of seed plants, the conifers. Okay, seedless plants, they make spores and not seeds to reproduce. This is a fern leaf. On the bottom of the fern leaf, you can see these black spots here, shown here, are the spores. Okay, there are spores inside, and spores spread just like seeds, and wherever they land, they will grow into a new seedless plant. The main types of seedless plants, as we said, are the moss, hornworts, and liverworts, and of course the fern. Okay, here in this video you can see a moss releasing spores. Spores are very tiny. They're usually smaller than seeds. Now, the animal kingdom. We are part of the animal kingdom, of course. They're multi-celled like plants. However, animals are consumers and not producers, okay? Consumers, it means that they eat, okay, to get nutrients to survive and to get energy. They eat, they don't make their own food, so we have to consume. That's why we are consumers. As we're going to see, there's one way to group plants. It's called vertebrates or invertebrates. Okay, we're going to see that vertebrates are animals that have a backbone, and invertebrates don't have a backbone. Here in this pie chart, in blue, it's the vertebrates, and in pink, it's the invertebrates. You can see that in the world, there's much more invertebrates than vertebrates. So it's about 95 to 97% of the animals in the world are invertebrates, animals without a backbone, and about 5% are vertebrates. So again, vertebrates are animals with backbones. There's 5 groups of vertebrates. They are the mammals, the reptiles, the amphibians, the birds, and the fish. You can see in this picture the backbone and the bones inside of vertebrates. Here we have a fish, we have a mammal, the cow, we have a bird, the chicken, and we have a reptile, the crocodile, and all of them are vertebrates, and you can see their backbones. We, of course, are also vertebrates. Invertebrates don't have a backbone, like the jellyfish, the snail, the slug, the worm, crabs and shrimps, and the insects. Now, not everything that swims in water is a fish, okay? For example, even though it's called jellyfish or starfish, they're not really in the fish group, okay? Because they're invertebrates. They don't have a backbone. In order for an animal to be grouped as a fish in the fish group, it should have a backbone.